fire Howie. Fucking fire that motherfucker. Stupid motherfucker. What an idiot. What an idiot. Dallas has Amari Cooper and Gallup, but we don't need a receiver. Are you kidding me? I don't want Justin Jefferson. He's ass. He's stupid. I'd fire his ass. I'd fire his ass. I mean, Howie's got to be stupid. What are you doing? You just let Dallas take him. Unbelievable.
Well, good morning, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Every time I get my hair cut, I see more and more of the gray. For whatever reason, when my hair gets longer, it kind of hides the gray. So I'm noticing getting a little silver up at the top. It's creeping. It's creeping. Anyway, I'm sitting here. It's actually early this morning. I've already driven 153 miles, gotten down here, been to the scrap metal place and got rid of this wash machine from my mother's that I replaced yesterday. And I've got to wait for an appraiser to get here. I'm actually early and got a lot of stuff done. In fact, I feel good because I have been up for over the last 4 hours and been busting a hump. And when I drive, I do a lot of thinking. I'm sitting here thinking about the Eagles who took lemons and made lemonade out of Carson Wentz. You actually have to look at the Eagles and say, you know what? They actually did, it cost them $35 million of dead money last year. But getting him off the books and getting something in return, getting that first and a third, at least they got back some of the compensation that they originally used for him. And as you look at the number of picks, since they had 3 picks, taking that pick and putting it down the road, saving something for a rainy day is actually quite scary in some regards. And this is where, as a Cowboy fan, you're looking and saying the possibilities of the Eagles being able to completely rebuild, because, quite frankly, when you have the number of picks that they have, you could definitely rebuild a team. To have 2 number ones 2 years in a row, that's huge. And it would really be scary if the Eagles were great at drafting. The crazy thing is you look at it and you say, some of the picks that they've made over the last few years. I mean, we think about them constantly trying to get the wide receiver. The second round, there was Charlie Dakota Whiteside, who he never busted a grape. I mean, let's be clear. He stuck. And then, of course, I don't want Justin Jefferson. He's ass. They could have actually had Justin Jefferson. Instead, they got Rhaegar. The other interesting part, and the reason why I brought up Charlie Dakota Whiteside, was because the very next pick, this is how crazy things are. The very next pick, after they picked Charlie Dakota Whiteside, who has never done anything, DK Metcalf was drafted the very next pick. And right after they ended up getting Rhaegar, the next pick was Justin Jefferson. Yeah. So you start looking at that, you think about the Carson Wentz and everything that they put into trading up to get him. Apparently, in some regard, you look at this as a move of, this is Hurts's last stand, that if he does not succeed or show more growth or potential of being the guy, we can replace you because we'll have 2 number ones, with the hope of the New Orleans Saints, having a bad season. Who knows, New Orleans, maybe they turn it around. I don't know. Losing Sean Payton, that's huge. Losing Sean Payton, it's kind of crazy that he retired and all that. And we don't know what they'll be like with Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston was actually playing really well before the ACL, but how well will he be coming back from the ACL? You just don't know. And having a new coach different philosophy. It may be that Sean Payton was the thing that was keeping that team together and being competitive, and we'll find out. And I'm thinking the Eagles are looking at it and saying it might be a better chance that they're not, a playoff team this year. So it's actually a good gamble. Howie Roseman, the thing that's kind of interesting about Howie Roseman and for the Eagles, and by all, it's not my team. I don't have a dog in the fight. But when you look at what he has been able to accomplish as far as getting draft picks, he's been incredible at making deals. I wish that the Cowboys were as good at making deals and collecting draft picks as Howie Roseman is. I have to give him credit on that. The problem for Howie Roseman, of course, is they don't have a Will McClay that ends up finding really good players. You can't look at the Eagles and at their top picks in recent history and say, oh my God, and be scared because the Eagles have 2 number 1s and 2 2s and all these picks. Because if the drafting that they're doing is still where it's been, and okay, doesn't matter because you haven't gotten a Micah Parsons. You follow what I'm saying? Because you don't end up having game changers. Now, the jury's out with Devontae Smith if he's going to be, great or not. He showed some flashes last year. He may end up being a great receiver. But when you look at their first and second round picks for the most part over the last couple of years, they're not great. They're not great. But for the Cowboys, either way, here's the problem. It's all of the number of picks. I always say that drafting is like a 50-50 crapshoot, You got a 50-50 shot of the guy being a great player or just as good a shot of him being a bum. The way you play the game is you play with as many picks as possible. Because even if you only hit on 50% of the guys stick with your roster, if you only have 7 picks, that's only 3.5 players. So 3 or 4. You're not getting a half player, okay? Nobody's splitting down the middle. But if you have 12 picks and you still go with that same rate, then you got 6 guys that are making your roster. You follow me? And so down the road, you look at this and say, this is the opportunity for the Eagles to go through and all of those old guys, the Lane Johnsons and the Fletcher Coxes and things like that, to go through and really legitimately replace all of those players. And you have to look at what the Dallas Cowboys did in the 90s. They had all those picks from the Herschel Walker trade, and they turned them into productive draft picks, along with, bringing in boatloads of guys and finding a mix of guys, all young, that were able to learn what Jimmy Johnson's vision was and start playing together for a couple of years to the point where they got it down pat. And they were young enough, strong enough, and healthy enough to go ahead and be good for a number of years. And that's the biggest fear that you actually have to have, that all of a sudden, all those bad picks that the Eagles have been having, that they finally turn it around and they begin to actually hit gold with some of these picks. So should we be scared of the Eagles? Well, definitely in the coming years, yeah, definitely. They have the opportunity to really set themselves apart with bringing in more talent if they can draft well. And that has been the only thing that has saved the Dallas Cowboys, is we've been able to try and find guys like Terrence Steele, undrafted rookie, free agent when we signed him, and being able to get the Micah Parsons and to get the CeeDee Lambs. We've been the polar opposite of what the Eagles have been drafting. Anyway, let me get in here. I'll see you guys later.